So the music of Nausicaä. Nausicaä, The Valley of the Wind is a Japanese animated science fantasy adventure film made in 1984. Film was written and directed by Hayao Miyazaki based on manga made by him at 1982. Music for the film was made by Joe Hishashi, a composer who after the film went on his way to make music soundtracks for Studio Ghibili's film La Puta, Princess Mononoke and many more. We analyze the whole film soundtrack from 5 core aspects. Each section is reviewed separately with having as much objectivity as possible. All of those sections are reviewed in scale of 1 to 10. And then their combined value is represented in the final verdict. Let us begin. Unique 9. Setting already is quite unique of its own, taking inspiration and mixing prehistoric and modern elements together. Joe Hishashi's soundtrack explores something grand while exploring a whole new spectrum of music. It is very classical in its execution, having very clear focus on balance between harmony and melodies. Only grudge I have towards the soundtrack's uniqueness is that some melodies at certain parts of the soundtrack feel taking a bit too much inspiration from known classical pieces. Perhaps it's just me, but I find some songs having elements of pieces I have heard. Like, I do not know, have you had these experiences? But sometimes, when I listen to songs, I hear very similar parts and I am thinking, oh, have I heard this somewhere before? And then the song continues to somewhere unique again. I had these few times while listening the soundtrack, and that is why I cannot say it is completely unique. Some might hate me on that, but I have to be very strict in this. There are albums and soundtracks which are 10 out of 10 unique, and with those soundtracks I have never encountered such events. Well, take it as you will. Replay value 10. When you get back to it, melodies of the film do stay on you when you listen, even after you listen. I see no end for listening Nausicaä time and time again, for the simple reason of evoking deeper feelings every time. Only some songs for films on their own have worth to listen. Only some songs can make you visually start to imagine film scenery so vividly as Joe Hishashi's soundtrack. If you want to relive this world again, all you need to do is just listen to the soundtrack and you're good to go. I tested even listening these songs in a loop, and weirdly enough, based on personal experience, you could listen songs many times without getting too bored. There's always something new to be found. Feeling 9. Joe Hishashi's work explores always something deeply moving. And in the case of this film, either when it is played by orchestra or by synths, it carries a message. Melodies and harmonies are stories of their own, telling and coloring the world presented in the film. With one music genre dominating, you cannot have this soundtrack which tries to convey through its music division between two sides. Nausicaä is a prime example of doing that, even as Hishashi's early work. At some points it's slow. Sometimes it rises to the skies gloriously, as airships in the film. It is nearly perfect, but after hearing his early work and hearing what Joe could compose in his later career, for me the music can't fully reach the near perfection of feelings such as in films like Princess Mononoke. I have to be honest with you, it was hard for me to whether decide 9 or 10, but yet I feel something is missing. Feelings are hard to put into words. I decided to put it 9 for my personal taste. Oftentimes than not, what feelings music evokes inside of you are personal, and your score might be 10 or 9, depending on your taste. You might be asking why to review a feeling then if the criteria is so vague, to which I answer, I'm in charge of this. Okay, let's move on. Music works with the film. 10. It truly does. What else there is to say? Narrative tells about a conflict between humans and the rest of the nature. Visuals and sounds carry this message forward, and as I said in the past, you connect the music so strongly that it is hard to not remember the outstanding animation and visuals while listening the music thereafter. There are, as far as I know, 3 kingdoms in the film which have taken 3 sides of human nature. One is preservation, one is an imperialistic side, and one is survivalist strategy. None of them are necessarily evil, but deal differently on variety of world phenomena. Nausicaä, a queen of one of these kingdoms who is just trying to preserve livelihoods of her people, looks deeper than any human dares. Music connects all 3 branches of humans all together, and Nausicaä even finds a way to make a bridge between alien natural world, electronic music, and mankind, orchestral music, with the ending of the film, which I do not spoil. You have to see it yourself. Quality. 10. For its time period, it was already really good film, and even today it has an edge because of the orchestration. In many cases, quality of orchestration never gets old, and that is not better shown than in this film. Songs from the old times are even today brought to be played by orchestra, and I can see why. Quality is top-notch, even for its time period. As I have said in the past, orchestration, in most cases, gives timeless value for the songs and longevity. Nausicaä songs are a perfect example of this. Even today, they are played across the world, and even after all these years, the music still works. Final score, 9.6. Nausicaä Valley of the Wind soundtrack is one of the most beautiful soundtrack I have listened connected to the context itself. Usually some soundtracks which are good are connected to films which are not necessarily that good, but when I see both the film and the soundtrack, both of them are outstanding. I highly recommend to experience it yourself, purchase the film, purchase the soundtrack, and just enjoy. Thank you for watching this soundtrack review. In the future there will be more of these in the coming, and remember, there's an extended version at my website in a text format, a nice little review over there if you want to see more why this soundtrack is so amazing, and also some links to the music you can listen yourself. I recommend to check the description of this video. As always, whenever you are, whoever you are, I wish you a great day. See you later, my friends.